So we're out here again at Nightmare on Chicago Street, talking to the Blue Box Cafe, Dr. Ruthie Cafe, with the best coffee in town. Anyone agree with me? Yeah. That was resounding. Thanks, Chris.
Big crowd.
So we have a really special guest with us. We have Greg. And Greg, you want to tell us what you do and where you're from?
I'm from Elgin originally, and I'm the founder of Elgin Paranormal Investigators.
Elgin Paranormal Investigators. Now, it's funny. I told people that I was going to be talking to you tonight, and most people didn't know you existed.
No.
And then the second reaction was, ooh, they're coming in. What do they do? Are they going to tell you cool stuff? I'm like, guaranteed. So, first question. Now, you do paranormal investigation. How long have you been doing it?
About 8 years. Actually, I started myself about maybe 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
On my own.
Okay. And now you've been doing it, have you stayed in Elgin this whole time? Or?
We do Elgin area, surrounding area. We figure if we can make it there in 2 hours, we can do it.
Okay, so you're like a pizza delivery thing where you've got like your
radius.
You've got your radius.
That we work.
Sorry, you are at 2 hours, 5 minutes.
And we have been down as far as Morrisville, Missouri.
Oh, wow.
We have gone in. But that was like a road trip for us.
Now, how many people do you have in your organization?
We have, the basic group is like 6 of us.
Okay.
But we have alternate investigators that if we need them, we call them in. So it makes about 8.
About 8, okay. Cool. And, okay, this is what I want to get into. Tell me exactly what you guys do, because paranormal investigation, most people when they think of that, their first thing is, oh, you're ghost hunters. But when I hear the name paranormal investigation, it opens up a whole plethora of things.
Yeah,
so, cryptozoology,
UFOs. We try to stick with spirits, entities like that with houses.
Okay.
What we do is we go in and we do it from a scientific angle.
Okay.
We don't use crystals. We don't use mediums. We use infrared cameras.
Okay.
Digital thermometers.
Yeah.
Digital recorders. EMF detectors, that kind of stuff. We live by the slogan that if it's not on video, it's not on audio. It's just another ghost story.
Yeah, right. So I get that. So you actually try to collect data from a scientific standpoint.
Yes.
Okay, have you actually, this is not off topic, but it's off topic? Have you seen, I was reading something, that there's an app that is a ghost detecting app.
Yeah, don't bother.
Okay, don't bother.
There's nothing on a phone that could.
It's not sensitive enough and all that.
Yeah.
What was funny is the reason I bring it up. This article I was reading about it made it sound like, this thing's the bomb. It's so great. And I'm going, there's no way this is doing what that type of equipment
because
really
you're dealing
does.
with milligauss and stuff like that, and there's no way that a phone can be switched over to do that. There's nothing in a phone to do that.
Right. It might move. Move a needle here and there.
I even downloaded it once just for jollies, and I saw the bleep there, and I thought, oh, wait a minute.
Right. Switched over to Farmville and said, okay, I'm done.
What's going on?
So you mainly do like spirits and hauntings, things like that.
Hauntings.
So, you said you stay in this kind of area. Is there a lot of activity here?
There's actually a lot more than people realize. You can have spirits anywhere.
Sure.
They're sometimes connected to the house, connected to a thing, connected to the land, there could be any reason that they're there. And Elgin being sold, it was established in 1860.
Sure, so there's probably a lot of stuff that's happened around
and
here.
most of your spirits that are around are people who are attached to an area or have unfinished business or have died abruptly, a lot of them, or violently.
So there
could be any reason.
In your experience, my wife and I, we watch everything, and I'm more the paranormal person than she is. I'm interested in this stuff. And so we watch The Grudge. And I'm sure you've seen this, and it's this Japanese ghost story. And she's like, it was really scary, and it was really great. And then the ghost left the house, and it broke the rules, and it made her crazy. She's like, no, they don't leave the house. Do they leave the house? Can they get attached to something and leave, or are they kind of like if some central event happened, do they kind of stay in that area?
Yeah, usually they stay in the area right away. Like they've had
I'm sure
cases.
there's not a hard and fast rule.
Yeah, there's not a hard and fast case. There's not a hard and fast rule, but most of the time, they're usually attached to the building or a thing, or it's usually just unfinished business. So usually they never leave the house.
Okay.
Usually they will stay there. And a lot of times, like a residual hunt, is the theory is that it's energy that the house stores up, and then every now and again it'll spit it out.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
what you're getting is almost like a record stuck and keeps skipping.
Yeah, right.
So
Like it just kinda keeps happening.
Yeah, on the fourth Thursday of this month, and next month, every Thursday at 12 o'clock,
Sure.
you're going to see this guy.
Yeah.
And it's just a reason. And they do the same thing no matter what happens.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong that are on the peripheral of this that go like, oh, ghost, I don't believe in any of that. It's like, first of all, if they haven't had the experience, they don't believe it.
Yeah.
Second of all, they get it wrong because they're thinking it's like in the movies. But
Yeah,
it's not. But there's something, it's energy, there's something there.
it's some kind of energy that's still left behind, or it's an energy that is still interactive.
My wife
trying to
worked
get you to do something.
in a store that was in an old house in St. Paul. And every day at like 3:30, the door would open. Every day at 3:30, and it would be, they'd have it shut. They're like, I know I locked it. And it would open every day. And what's funny is, I was there with them one night. We decided we were going to help like clean up and do some painting. And we tipped something off. Now I was saying it was like what you're saying, like a record skipping. Like, oh, it's just going to keep happening. I don't know what to do, but there's something happening. But when we were there, they kept shutting the power off on us. I went down to the basement and it got freaking cold out of nowhere. And I wasn't thinking ghosts. When the lights went out, I was like, oh, we blew a fuse. I walked downstairs and I'm like, why is it so cold? And then it went back to normal temperature. Lights came on, I wasn't near the fuse box. Then I go over to the fuse box, they all go out, and I'm like, okay, there's something weird. What's going on? And the radio kicked on, it was weird. There you go. Now
There's an explanation.
there is an explanation, okay.
An entity, when it tries to manifest itself or do something, has to have energy.
Okay.
So where does it get its energy from? It draws it out of the building, out of the wires, out of the air itself. That's why you have cold spots.
So
Heat
that's why
is
you
an
have
energy.
cold spot. It's not that they're trying to freeze you
Yeah.
out, it's they're pulling the energy.
They're pulling the energy out to help them manifest themselves.
Now, in your experience, with all this experience, you obviously work across this stuff. Give me a couple of good stories. Give me a couple of good ones that you've had.
Good ones. One of our best is that we were at a house in South
I like
Elgin.
how your body shifted there, because I can tell we're going to get a
It's
good one
little-
here.
Yeah. But we were in a house and we were doing an investigation. We had been there for, a couple hours. And it was, the lady who lived there said there was a lot of stuff always going on. Always going on. Stuff happening.
Chairs moving,
Well, not even that
cold
bad.
spot,
It's
just stuff.
just seeing things out of the corner of your eye, just little stuff like that. And one of our investigators are getting ready to walk out of a room, and all of a sudden we caught this. We didn't hear it, but when we over the evidence, we heard a voice, an EVP,
Okay.
say, "Go."
So when you listen back to the recordings, you heard
Yes, we heard it. We didn't actually hear it.
Yeah.
And whenever we went over the video, because it's so dark, because when you're in investigating, it's dark.
Right.
And the reason we do it in the dark is because it heightens all your other senses.
Right. That makes perfect sense to me.
And you got to remember that if it's haunted at nighttime, it's haunted during the day.
Like the 3:30 door opening. They don't
Exactly.
care what time it is.
And that's basically like a residual haunting. It's going
Right.
to happen every day whether you like it or not.
Right. But it's easier for you as a living human to be sensitive to
Well,
stuff.
yeah, and it heightens all your other senses. It outside is quieter. It's just a good time because it's just easier. It's quieter.
Right.
Anyway, he started to walk out of the room and he felt something.
Well, he
And
felt
turned,
something.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he turned around and he looked. And you go on our website and you can see it's called the shirt tug. You could actually see his shirt come out a little bit. And then all of a sudden, bam, it came out real hard.
Now,
And
did you
could see
catch
him-
that on video?
Yes, we caught it on
Wow,
video.
wow.
And he went like this and he was looking for whatever it was. He thought he hooked his coat on, his shirt on something.
Right.
And that was one of our better ones. We caught that on video. And then one of our best is you can go see it, and a case 13 is what we call it, because we can't divulge the place of that because you'd have people knocking on the doors. But we actually caught what is known as the shadow person.
Okay, shit. Okay, I was going to ask you about this. So
we were in.
I didn't see this on your website, but I was going to ask you about shadow people. Okay.
We were actually in a 5-story building, apartment building.
Okay.
And they were in the middle of renovations, ran out of money, so the building was sitting empty. Nobody in it, no power. We had to run all our cameras from one plug 3 floors down.
Okay.
So we had them all set up, and then all of a sudden we looked. We were all standing there, and then there was cameras set up. And one of my investigators, Dave, turned just to keep shooting stuff. And all of a sudden, we saw this little shadow peep out from the thing, and it's on the website.
Wow.
We put all our
So
evidence
you
out there so
caught
that so that everybody can, you judge for yourself.
Yeah.
And we saw it pop out, and then all of a sudden we saw it go back in, and then we saw it pop out again.
Oh, okay.
And we went back, and we spent 3 hours trying to debunk this.
Yeah.
Because we thought, well, somebody walked in front of the camera, somebody did something, and we
Yeah.
couldn't. We spent 2 hours doing it.
That's one of the things that, I
And I have to tell you,
Yeah,
3
yeah.
months later, I saw the lady who manages the property in the
Yeah.
grocery store. She had since gone to another job. She found out that in the 70s, from the room that we saw the shadow person come out of, a man had snapped and killed his wife and chased his son down the hall and killed him, and then killed
Wow.
himself.
So, wow.
So
Interesting.
it was kind of, we went, what?
Did we see the shadow of the kid? Did we see
Yeah,
what did we
but
see there? Yeah.
And shadow, you said you were going to ask me about the shadow.
Well, I was just going to ask because there are so many different types of manifestations. I wondered if you had anything like that, like shadow people. The big thing right now is people talking about the dark-eyed kids. I don't know if you know about that. And I didn't know, like that's pretty out there.
Yeah,
But every time I think this is too far, then
somebody shows evidence of it.
no, wait a minute. There might be something going on.
Shadow people now are what they call a classification on their own. Normally about 3-4 feet tall.
Okay.
You'll see them on the
Wow, I
corner of
didn't
the eye.
know all that. When I first heard about him, it was back when Art Bell had his radio show. And he kept talking about these shadow people, and they're like, this is a new thing that people are kind of talking about. And it's hung around. And I've heard more and more about it. And now it seems so commonplace. So you're saying there's a whole classification?
They are their own classification.
Wow.
They could, and they don't know if it was something that was never human or if it was human.
Right.
But they don't know. They just,
Well, yeah, I mean, how
just
could
put
you
their own,
really?
yeah, they just put them on their own classification.
That's the other thing about this. I mean, when people poo-poo it, dismiss it, easy to do because you haven't seen it, let's say. And even if you have, it's easy because you can't comprehend it. Because we won't know. We're never going to really.
Well, that's why we do what we do. We're trying to show evidence that it really
That
is
there's
out
something,
there.
yeah.
There's something there. We don't know what it is, but there is something there.
I've always been interested in like the UFO thing. And it's the same kind of thing where a lot of people poo-poo it. That, well, with all the cameras, there should be evidence. Guess what? There is evidence. And by nature, UFO means unidentified. It doesn't mean little green men.
No, it doesn't mean it.
Ghost doesn't mean what we saw in Ghostbusters.
No, it means all kinds of things. It's all different definitions and all different theories out there.
Now, what do you think of all these shows that are out there now? Because there's
You
so
know what?
many
I
ghost
have to give credit to them because they did open the door for the rest of us to do what we do.
Okay, so it has helped the
It
industry.
has helped in the industry, and it has helped give actual evidence.
Do people think that they're going to get those results? Because I know when they do those shows, like they'll be shooting for a long time before they get one little, you know. And people think, oh wow, they did it in a half hour. Man, that place is live with activity.
No.
You gotta hang out there forever.
Ever. Well, that's like us. When we do an investigation, it's usually all night, overnight. And what people don't see is the part where you go back to the office and you start going over
Frame by
8
frame.
hours, 8 hours worth of video,
Yeah.
8 hours worth of audio. We do anywhere from 4 to 6 cameras in a night. So you end up having.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Well, hold on. We're doing a live show here at the Blue Box, so we actually have people like standing listening.
I'm trying to
You guys can
understand
hear
what's
us,
going
right?
on. Yeah.
Awesome. So what we have, I want to hear if you have a question. Let's lay it out there.
Yeah, we just got here. Oh, hi. We just got here, and we're wondering, like, we're not 21, we can't drink. What is there to do here? Can you help me out?
You can drink coffee, you can listen to a paranormal investigator, you can have a sandwich.
And there are bands at either end.
Oh no, I meant like there's
Outside?
Yeah, out here there's all kinds of vendors.
Somebody's raising their hand, they can answer.
Question.
All right.
So, are you like a real life Ghostbuster?
Is that what you guys?
I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm not a Ghostbuster. We don't have a claim to get rid of them. We don't catch them. We just try and figure out what you're dealing with.
So he's who you're going to call first. Then you're going to call the guys in the jumpsuits.
Once we tell you what you're dealing with, then it's up to you, whatever angle you take. But yes, I am
early
a
podcaster. That's what I am. And I'm obviously not a directory to Nightmare on.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
They have, I think they have like,
So,
here. I'll even give them a cup.
there you go. Promote that business. Well, that's something else that I want to do
Thank you.
on our podcast here is I want to promote what you do so that if there are people, especially out in this area, we're in Elgin, Illinois.
Yep.
If there are people in the Chicagoland area that are looking for this type of thing that have maybe a question, an issue, where would they reach out to you?
ElginParanormalInvestigators.com.
That's the best place? That's
the
how I
best
reached
place.
out to you too.
Exactly, and that's the best place to get a hold of us. And our number is there, and that number goes directly to my cell
I
phone.
know it does because I dialed it, you didn't pick up, and I sent you an email.
I have a proper question now.
Okay, we got a question.
So my question is like supernatural wise, like how far do you believe into all of it? Like to what like goes like saving religiously, like to what extent you
How far do I believe in it? Well, I believe in it. I believe there's something out there. Your chances of coming across a satanic possession or oppression, you'll win the lottery 3 times before that happens. Your chances of that are like a zillion to 1.
Yeah, okay.
It's not a common thing.
You might not have heard the very beginning of the podcast, but their standpoint is they're doing everything from more of a scientific standpoint. So it's not necessarily about belief, it's more about what's going on. That's what
We deal with actual stuff.
Right, so I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's good to know that I have a mother who's like a medium and like actually owned a store called Christopher Gift. So I was around some of this stuff, didn't get too into it, but like because it was too much bells and whistles, it was too much like metaphysical, and they just labeled it as that, like too much smoke and mirrors.
Yeah,
Right,
too much,
right.
way too much. And we don't deal with crystals. We don't deal with, I feel this, but we can't EVP a feeling. We can't measure a feeling.
Exactly. Like
So
two-way tarot cards.
that's why if somebody says, well, I'm the only one that hears them, I'm the only one that sees them, there's nothing I can do for you. Because
Right.
I can't, do you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna get back to my pool course.
All right, well, thank you for the
Thanks
question.
for talking about it.
By the way, my mom's a long. Thank you. Oh, that was a good one, right?
Yeah, it was.
I get very few laughs around here. So, okay, let's see. Where were we with this? You gave us a couple of your really good stories. I know what I want to ask. When we start going outside of your group, we've got the shows. We know that some of it's real, some of it's not. Usually the guys that I think are real, I start to kind of I can kind of tell when I watch these things, like, yeah, there's something going on here. Some of them I go, this is reality TV, and we know what that means. Completely unreality. What about other investigators that have kind of made a name for themselves? Like, do you put any stock in that? Like, the most controversial one would be like the Warrens. They're getting all these movies made about their stories. What do you think?
The Warrens, you have to give them credit. They're like the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah, they were out there doing it before anybody.
I've actually met John Zaffis,
Okay.
the haunted collector,
Sure.
and they, some of their stuff is that you gotta believe it because it happened.
It does stuff.
It does what it did.
See,
And you can't deny that because they actually have evidence.
yeah, there's such a controversial story with these guys. Now, I was listening to another podcast. They were interviewing people very close to them, and I think they interviewed her, Lorraine, or they had a whole interview with Lorraine, and it was really interesting because it was her, because they were talking about Annabelle, and it was before everybody knew what Annabelle was.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this, and I was like, no matter what impression I had, no matter what I had heard of these guys, hearing her on the podcast, I had a different impression. Whether they're smoke and mirrors, they're not entirely. Listening to her talk, there were things that genuinely bothered her. There were
Well,
things-
she is a vetted medium.
right.
And so, and even Hans Halser, who started out as a skeptic, ended up being one of the biggest people.
Okay.
You can get, stories from him. Those I've Met was a book I started reading when I was young.
Okay, what was
That's how
that
I
book
got
again?
started. Those I've Met by Hans Halser.
Excellent.
And there's
There's a
another book,
recommendation for you.
and he's got another big book out called Ghosts. So, I mean, and they all started out as skeptics. A lot of these people started out as skeptics. And all of a sudden, they're seeing stuff that's actually going on, and they're going, yeah,
right.
there's something there. I'm going to follow this for a while and see what happens.
Well, it's interesting going back to that UFO thing. Like, my dad always had an interest in it, and it was fun in me. I'm sure your dad probably
I
knows.
mentioned John Zaffis.
Yeah.
John Zaffis is their nephew.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Haunted Collector was their nephew.
So I was into it as a kid. Then I got very skeptical, and then at one point I was talking about doing a book.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a comic book where all I was going to do was collect stories of people that had. I was going to start with UFOs, then I was going to move on to ghosts. And I was going to say, okay, if you've had a UFO experience, tell me your experience. I'm not going to judge it one way or the other. I'm going to have a comic book artist illustrate it. That was it. Okay, kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah.
So I started this journey. I said it. I was at a party and I was like, "Hey, I got this idea. And I'm thinking about doing this." Do you know, for about 2 months, every place I went, I got nobody talked about it, and then at the end, I got something. And I heard the wildest stories from people that I know close and never uttered a word, and then they'd say, "But you can't use it. I don't want people to know." And I said, "What if I change your name?" And they're like, "No." But they told me the craziest things. And that's where I flipped the other way again, where I was very skeptical. I'm still skeptical of elements of it, but I say, regardless, there's something to it.
Yeah.
There's something to it. And my night with the stuff in that baby store tells me there is something. When I walked in that basement and it went from normal temperature to freaking cold,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it was, it's the same thing that people are reacting to, which is probably what you're experiencing. Right?
Yeah, we have a running joke that no matter where you go, they'll ask me, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And I'll go, "No, I don't believe in ghosts." But this happened to me.
I get
This
that all
happened
the
to me one time.
Yeah,
Everybody's got a ghost story.
They do. And that happened with the UFO thing, and it's just so funny how this whole thing seems to be, well, now it seems to be more at the forefront. People still don't talk about it, but the media's taking the interest of it.
Yeah.
But it's still like a below the surface thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
geekdom.
Yeah.
We do a lot of podcasts about geeky things, and it used to be when I was in high school, if I went, "Hey, I love these shows, I'm into Batman," it's like you got beat up. Now, if you're not into it, you're
You get
weird.
beat up.
Yeah, and the same thing I think is happening here, where to younger people, this has become very commonplace to talk about it and not be afraid to talk about it. The
Yeah,
older people, though, are still going,
Yeah.
"I'm not going to talk about it, but I got a story for you."
Let me tell you, this happened to me one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always happens that way. But you have to stop and think. Ghost hunters have been on TV for 10 years.
Right.
They just did their 200th episode.
Yeah.
So there's got to be somebody watching.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to ask you this question. What's the worst of those shows, in your opinion? I got one, I'll tell you that I think stunk.
In my own opinion,
Yeah.
I always had trouble with like Paranormal State, but that was just, it was kind of a,
That one seemed a little, the way they did it was a little sensationalized.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one that I hated. Here I hated it, and I probably added to their ratings because I kept watching it, was Ghost Mine. Did you watch that? It was the worst. Every time,
Okay.
that was one of those reality shows.
Yeah.
Ooh, we were in the mine, and ooh, a thing came out, like, give me a break. Give me a break.
you got 2 tons of rock on top of you. It moved.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Okay.
Very likely that the reason that happened is miners died there, and it's got a lot of
Yeah.
activity.
Still a lot of energy there.
It was a bunch of junk.
Oh, yeah. It was
what
too
a
much.
great name, though.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do that here. We're gonna call it a ghost cafe.
Yeah.
And
See what happens.
every once in a while, we'll just kind of like,
you
the things
laugh.
are moving. Wait a minute.
You laugh, but there was an actual experiment done called the Phillips experiment.
Okay.
And what happened is that a bunch of college kids got together and decided we're going to create a ghost.
Okay.
So they all started passing the word around. There was this ghost called Philip.
So they made up a story.
They made up a story. They gave it a home. They gave it a place where it was haunting, and started passing the word around that it was haunting, it was happening, and they actually caused things to happen because all of the people putting their energy into
There is actually a term for that.
Yeah.
I've been reading about where things manifest this way, and,
Yes.
and it's probably the most current, popular one that is going around on the internet is the Slender Man story.
Yeah,
Now, Slender Man was made up.
exactly. It was a comic book.
It was a comic book, and they had a contest, much like we would do with our network. We're like, hey, we're going to have a contest. Make up a really scary thing that we can make something out of. And they made up Slender Man. But what's strange is, there have been these horrifying killings that have happened in the name of Slender Man.
That's sad.
But where it gets really interesting is how I was looking at something online where a guy was investigating it. Like, he went from the standpoint of, what if this isn't just a story, if it's rooted in something else? And he found evidence of drawings and things from way back that matched this type of thing. And you go, I wonder if the fact that we're thinking it up, we're putting the energy out there, it starts to manifest itself in some way.
Yeah.
So, Phillips experiment, now that's interesting.
Yeah, and they created this little ghost, and lo and behold, things started to happen.
Things started to happen.
But it's all the energy coming from the people.
Yeah.
That's just like a lot of the
As long
polka
as
guys.
it's not that clown from under the bed and poltergeist,
Yeah.
and then I think,
Or it. Yeah.
no, that's not happening.
Keep him.
Yeah, you know what? That's where this whole conversation gets not very fun.
Yeah.
When we start talking about the clown from Yes. That's
That's not funny.
not funny for anybody.
No. But stuff like that, it takes, I always have to say that, if you've got a haunting going on and it hasn't hurt you yet, it's probably not gonna.
Yeah.
It's probably just trying to get your attention to do something.
Right. And almost saying, if you can, enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's an experience that most
And
people are never going
recognize
to
it. A
have.
lot of times it just wants to be recognized that it's there.
Right. Yeah, I actually, I have a good one. A cousin of ours she was one of these that when we got into this conversation at one point, like, we had never talked about it, and the ghost subject came up. She is one of these people that attracts something.
Yeah.
She had never told us.
Well, they don't really attract them, they're just intuitive.
Is that what it is? Okay.
It's intuitive. They don't really attract them, it's just that they realize they're there and they hear them.
And I
or
mean,
they see
she's
them.
had full manifestations.
Body apparitions.
She had one that she told us where she was looking out her window and it looked like there was a Native American standing there looking up at the window. And she went, why is that? And then, poof. Like, oh.
Well, you have to
saw
remember, if she's
personally.
around here,
This was up in Ohio.
that's still,
Ohio's a hotbed.
yeah, a lot of Native American stuff, like here you had the Iroquois, you had the Black Hawk Indians, you had the Fox Indians, you had the Winnebago Indians.
Right.
Come on,
It's all over here.
all over here.
Well, and people say, oh, well, it's because they're Native Americans. No, it's because that was here for so long.
Long. They
and
were
so
here
much
forever.
activity happened. It's like when you go to the East Coast, where the Civil War battles happened.
I
People
went to
talk about
Gettysburg
so
this
much.
summer.
Any experiences?
No, but you don't really realize how big that battle was until you stand there.
Yeah.
And look at it and you're going, whoa.
Yeah.
It's, they had 152,000 men for a 3-day battle and 51,000 died.
My relative was the first civilian killed at Gettysburg. She was baking a pie, a stray bullet came through the window and killed her.
Yeah.
That's my family.
Trying to remember her name.
I have no idea. That tells you how much I know
Wade?
about my family. What? Wade! You're so
Jenny
good!
Wade.
That's her!
Anyway, she was shot by a stray bullet.
That's my
Came through the door.
relative. Yep.
My hotel was right next
She was baking a pie or something. Yep.
for people.
Yep, that's my relative.
Yeah, Jenny Wade.
You know what? The spirit of Jenny just came in here and filled your head with that.
Filled my head with stuff.
So, okay, we're on the eve of Halloween here. It's not really Hallows Eve, but we're about a week away.
We're close.
So, is there any increase in activity? People always ask that. I doubt it, but I want to know what you think.
Okay, the reason we get a lot of more activity around this time because the old traditional belief that the veil between
us that it's
and
thinner
them.
at this point.
It's thinner at this time.
But do you think that's real, or do you think it's just more people
You
are paying
know,
attention?
I think it's just more people paying attention, really
I think that
realizing
too.
it's going on.
Once again, I think that the reason UFO activity goes up when there's stuff in the media is because
It's always there,
People are
but
paying
just
attention.
people are paying attention now.
yeah. I heard a great one about UFOs one time where the guy said, if you really want to see one, just start looking up.
Yeah.
And eventually, if there's one to be seen, you're gonna see it. And I was like, that
but
makes
a lot of
sense.
people, a lot of people where they make the mistake though is when they're looking at for a UFO, they'll see a little star kind of moving.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden
That's
everything's
space jump guy.
Yeah.
The space jump.
Yep.
Just going across.
Yeah, when I say I have good stories, they weren't Space Jam. People told me, no, I've never seen it.
Me neither.
No idea.
I've never
No?
seen a ghost.
There you go. We did a little shadow dance, but
Yeah, but even I didn't see that until we were going over,
right.
the evidence.
Now, how about these EVP things? When you're getting the auditory evidence, I have heard people play these, and sometimes I go, yep, I kind of hear something, and then I go, are they hearing something, or is it like you play a record backwards and you think you're hearing something?
I have to say that we have had this stuff happen, and we get a lot of EVPs sometimes. We had one place that we ended up with 26 one night.
Wow.
And we couldn't figure out why, but I can say there's the core group of 6 that go over evidence most of the time.
Okay.
And when we get EVPs, we have enough. Dave Umbach is our audio guy.
Okay.
And him and his girl is our video guy, our video person.
I was going to say, she's not a video guy.
No, well, video person.
That's another story.
But he actually goes in and he'll go, I mean, he gets it all the way down to a dot of on the video screen, on the thing. And he marks every one of them, and then he'll bring them in and he'll say, here, I got this, and he'll send them. And if we don't all agree on it, we throw it out.
Okay, so it's got to be unanimous.
It's got to be unanimous, and you got to be able to.
So if you had 27 or whatever in one night,
We ended up, I think, with 6.
wow.
But they were like me and you talking.
Yeah.
And we always know, we always have our people on camera. One of my things about my group is that we always have the persons who are investigating on camera.
Now, if somebody wanted to hear these, that's on your website?
It's on the website.
And what's that website again?
ElginParanormalInvestigators.com.
Excellent. Oh man, I definitely want to check that out. Sounds
Get
cool.
out. It's all there.
Yeah, I'm going to point a couple of things because I listen to a couple of these paranormal type shows. I listen to Jim Harold, which has a wonderful show. I don't know if you've heard it. Jim does a great job, and I've heard interesting things about this on there. And then there's another one that I really like. It's called Spooky South Coast. I don't know if you've heard this, but they do. I think they're tied into a radio station or something. They're an interesting show, and this week I was listening to one. There's some triangle they keep talking about. It's kind of like a Bermuda Triangle, but it's like in Jersey or something. I don't know where it is. I'm like completely off. But they had teams out at this triangle while they were doing the thing live, and people were calling in and they were tweeting and they were doing things. And while they were doing this, people sent in a couple of audio files and said, I picked up this weird voice. And the people that were out there were investigators. And man, a couple of these, they said, just listen carefully. And you hear things, you go, either somebody said that into the microphone or you just caught some very, very wild.
Well, that's what we do. That's what we do. We don't tell each other what's on it. Like one of us will hear it and we'll hear something and we'll say, well, what do you guys think it says? And then if they agree, then we keep it. If they don't agree, then it's out.
Wow.
Because it's just the way it works. We don't, there's 6 of us. You can have people listen to an EVP, and if you're not careful, if you tell them what you think you heard, they're going to hear the same thing.
They hear the same thing.
It's a preset. It's a
That's
preset.
what I liked when I was listening to the Spooky South Coast and they were playing these. They were playing them before everybody was like, oh, did you hear? And I was hearing it clearly, and I was like, oh, that just said. And then they all went like, whoa, did you hear? And I thought, wow. And it was odd enough that I was like, as somebody that deals with audio, if they're doing that live, that was a pretty good trick to pull that one off.
Yeah. Well, see, that's
so
why,
tiny and subtle.
That's why we're still kind of old school because we still use videotape, where a lot of them do digital now. But you know what? With videotape, you can't screw with it.
Like you can't.
Can't mess with it.
You can do all sorts of
digital. You can do it. We even did something in digital with my partner Mike acting as the Gator guy.
Okay.
He got killed.
Yeah.
He was using his voice, and and we made a ghost
Okay.
standing next to my hearse. So he just
Standing next to your hearse. Why do you have a hearse?
I just like him.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy.
So you're not a magician. You're just digging on the horse.
Yeah,
the horse. The horse.
I love
Until it's getting
I love
late.
those. I always figured why make your last ride your best ride?
This is horrible. We were with some friends that her mom died, and her kids, who were like 7 and 9, were standing out there, and the hearse goes by, and the littlest one goes, someday, says to my daughter, turns to my daughter and goes, someday I'm going to write a card just like that. Like he showed up, and she went, yeah, you will.
Someday.
But if she met you,
Yeah,
it comes a lot
I actually
sooner.
own
than
one.
with the
I
first one.
own an 83. That's 83 Cadillac hearse.
I love that. We need to become friends. I need to ride in it. Not in the back.
Oh, you can ride the back. There's no. I took the coffee table out. I don't need it.
That's awesome.
I call it my Cadillac sedan delivery.
Now, do you guys do anything with like ghost tours or anything like that? Have you ever gotten into that? Or
We did for a while. We did, but it just got to be, like we just ended up not having time. We're trying to start it up again.
okay,
But we do everything out of pocket. We don't make any money. We don't charge anything.
sure.
All our investigations are free.
Wow.
Well, it's because we've worked so long for the credibility, and if you pay me
Right.
to come and investigate,
And
you expect me to
I
find
expect you to
something.
tell me there was something.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not getting paid,
Yes, and if you
it doesn't benefit you to find something or not.
and if I walk up to you and say, "Hey, thanks for the $50, but we didn't get nothing," well, then you better call me. So it's
when
a
you do it for
credibility
free,
thing.
it's a different element. Well, it's very much like what we do on our podcast network. This is free entertainment.
Yeah.
And it gives us a certain amount of freedom where we're like,
Yeah.
we don't have to deal with this and deal with that. If you're not paying for it, you don't like it, you turn it off.
Yeah.
Please don't turn this off.
Keep listening.
Keep listening. So I think that's it. Unless you had any other good stories you wanted to share? Or?
No, that's about some of
This
the
was
best.
wonderful. Thank you so much for coming out here, Greg.
problem.
I've had a wonderful time talking to you.
I hope so.
And I really encourage people to go to your website, check this stuff out. I hope people at Elgin find out who you are.
I hope so too. If you Google us, we're the first ones that come up.
There you go. Elgin Paranormal Investigators. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Appreciate it, Greg. Thanks for
being
night.
here.
Hey, happy Halloween.
You too.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.